of celebration and a time of renewal. It was a rural and an urban celebration all over this continent and many others. And I think the presence of so many of you here today is an indication of how we're determined to protect our planet, our natural world, and our environment. Thank you, every single one of you, for being here today. And thank you to all those people, not just over the last few weeks, but over the last decades and before that, who've campaigned to try and persuade people to understand the necessity of our relationship with the natural world being one of respect and working with the natural world rather than just seeing it as something to exploit. I think of books like Silent Spring and many others over many decades that have helped to change and form opinion. But the reality is we are facing a global climate crisis. If the world carries on warming at the rate it is because of the levels of emissions all over the world by 4 degrees centigrade, then we all know what the consequences are. The consequences of loss of natural habitat, the consequences of floods, of unusual and extreme climate weather patterns, and of the destruction of the polar ice caps, and obviously rising sea levels as a result of that. Even if we didn't go as far as 4, it's 3 degrees, there is still a major problem and disasters around the world. And it's the poorest people in the poorest places, in the poorest parts of the world, that suffer the worst from it. Whether that is children growing up in polluted streets in industrial America or Western Europe, losing as much as 10% of their lung capacity before the age of 5, or it is people being literally asphyxiated by air pollution in urban India or in parts of urban China. It is all of those things and more. Therefore, the urgency of dealing with it is extreme. But it's also a sobering reality that since 1970, only 49 years ago, think of 49 years ago in the great spread of geological time and history, we've lost around 2/3 of all plant and animal species. That is a dangerous and sobering thought. With the continued destruction of the natural world and forests and the pollution of our seas, some fish will be extinct without us even knowing what they were called. Some insect life will be destroyed without us ever knowing what it was. These are serious and sobering issues. Therefore, what do we do about it? What do we do about it? The pledge of trying to reduce the growth, the rise in average temperatures by 1.5 degrees means there is a degree of sustainability in prospect. And those that have campaigned over many years have achieved some things. The Toronto Protocol on CFCs, the Kyoto Protocol, the Copenhagen discussions, and the Paris Climate Change Accord didn't come about because political leaders readily rushed to those cities in order to come to an agreement. They happened because of the reality of what we're doing to our natural world and our environment, and the reality of what climate change would do. It is popular movements all around the world for decency, for sustainability, and protection of the natural world that is so very important. And so, after all the discussions, we put today to Parliament the declaration that the British Parliament should be, as it turns out, the first in the whole world to declare there is a climate emergency.
Let's start.
It happens today because Parliament listened to what people were saying and listened to the reality of the protests and the demands being made by predominantly young people. And I have to say, I think it's quite unusual when children in primary schools, students in secondary schools are educating adults into the reality of what science is about. And so we put a motion to Parliament today, and I'm pleased to say it's been agreed by Parliament. Not the end of it. Merely declaring an emergency indicates we understand what the emergency is. It's what we do next. Therefore, it is about a green industrial revolution. It is about the Green New Deal. It is about not seeing technology as a threat to the environment, but something we can use to protect and preserve, use less, recycle more, develop more. And so that is the first call. The second is serious action on a global scale. So those people in parts of the world that are trying to defend natural ecosystems and forest life, be it forests in India or the Amazon rainforest, deserve our solidarity and our support in what they're trying to achieve.
Yes!
Just as much as those campaigning for clean air in cities all around the world, just as much as those protecting coral reefs and other wonderful natural phenomena from pollution and degradation. But environment is all those regulations and all those things that we talk about. But it's also, in many ways, a sort of state of mind. It's a state of mind about how we approach our own lives, how we approach the politics that we do, but also recognizing that the poorest people, as I said, in the poorest countries, in the poorest parts of the world, suffer most. This industrial revolution that's going to come about has to be one where the benefits, instead of the benefits of previous industrial revolutions going towards the agglomeration of capital amongst a few, instead the benefits go to everybody.
Yes!
In the motion we put to Parliament, what we said was the government must come back within 6 months, hopefully sooner, with a series of proposals about how you develop the circular benefits of renew, recycle, replace, how you develop the circular benefits of preventing pollution, preventing the growth of world temperatures, both from this country's participation and others. And we want COP20 to be held in London. We welcome them here because we want to listen and talk to people from all over the world about how we can achieve things together. What has happened, I think, is truly remarkable. Defending our natural world, defending our environment, preventing pollution, preventing destruction is not a threat to the living standards of people. It's an opportunity to develop good quality, well-paid, high-skilled jobs in renewable energy, for example, in the construction of replaceable and renewable products. It's an attitude of mind that sees preservation of what we've got, not excessive consumption, as being the objective of our lives. And so putting this there today was an important step forward. It only happened because of popular movements, popular protests, popular arguments about the kind of world we want to live in. I don't want to live in a country where people pass by on the other side when there's food banks or people sleeping rough, any more than I want to live in a world where we stand idly by and see our precious natural world destroyed, and ultimately, because that's the way it works, the destruction of biodiversity and insect life means agriculture doesn't work, food supplies don't work, sustainability doesn't work, and you know what? We all suffer as a result of that. It's not about buying your way out of the climate crisis, it's about contributing to the solutions to it. Today has been, in my view, a very, very important milestone in these events. It's a huge step forward, but a step forward of itself won't achieve change. What will achieve change is a concentration of energy and effort into making sure the change we want actually happens, and the mindset of preservation of our natural world and our environment and the equality that must go with it is centre to what we do in our politics from now on. I'm delighted to have been able to play some part in that today, as are my team on this platform here today. And I want to say thank you to all of you that have come today, all of you for so long to try and bring about a just, peaceful and sustainable world. Thank you very much.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn.